Hi, this is a sample of the roughly daily verses from either Greek or Hebrew that I'll be doing here on Patreon. This is the first subscription tier that requires a subscription beyond the free, in which I do a verse of Greek or Hebrew a day. And the way I'll lay it out is something like the following. So first I'll put the verse up here. Now if you don't know Greek, don't get too spooked, because if you were to do this every day and do the things I tell you to do, you'll learn Greek soon enough. So the first thing I'll do is I'll try to give you some sense of a reading of it. Now my pronunciation is what's called the Erasmian pronunciation. It's not the way Paul or Luke, if it was Luke, would have pronounced it, and modern Greeks get very upset about it. But nevertheless, it is the conventional way of pronouncing biblical Greek in America, and it would be pronounced something like this: ton men proton, logon, epoie samein, peri panton, o theophile, on erxeta, or erxeto, ho Jesus, poien te kai didaskein. So there's a pronunciation of the Greek using the Erasmian way of doing it. Now, the next thing that we would do is give you a chance, if you've already had Greek and you're wanting to do this to review, to try to translate it on your own. Of course, pause the tape. I'm not going to pause here and waste time. But basically, let me get my cursor out here and do a little bouncing ball to give you the pronunciation. So men here, as actually te also here, is what's called a postpositive. It's a procrastinator. Never comes where it's supposed to. So even though this is second, men here, even though it's second, I'm going to translate it first. It means something like, on the one hand, the first word I myself made, concerning all the things, O Theophilus, that began the Jesus, both to do and to teach. Is that what you came up with? One more time. On the one hand, the first word I myself made, concerning all things, O Theophilus, which began Jesus both to do and to teach. Now we got to arrange it around a little bit to make better English. So as you know, this is accusative. And so that means it actually in English comes after the verb. This is the verb. I myself made the first word, the first book, concerning all the things, O Theophilus, that Jesus began. Again, notice that the author of Acts decided to put Jesus after began, both to do and to teach. These are poiein, didaskein are infinitive. So I couldn't help myself. So we've translated it, and I've given you a little bit of a sense of it. Now let's go a little bit deeper. Now let's say, no, I'm good. I'm going to go on with my day. Fine. I hope to have these posted first thing in the mornings so that you can do it, at 6 a.m. Before moving on. Well, let me do an interlinear. So let's start with this first main. This is the main clause, the backbone of this verse. So I've connected. So this is the article. It means the. There are many different ways, as you know, if you've had Greek, to configure the article. This will make no sense to you if you've never studied Greek. But there are 24 slots to put. Now there aren't 24 completely different forms, but in theory there could be 24 different forms for the word the. Thankfully there aren't, but there are several, many more than in English. In English there's one, the. But this is the, it's accusative. The first proton, the first word, I myself made, okay? I'll do parsing in a second. Concerning all, O Theophilus, the things that, or the things which, Jesus began, both to do and to teach. So, there's a little interlinear. So I'll pronounce the Greek, I'll give you a basic translation, then I'll do an interlinear so you can see it in a little bit more depth. And now let me do a little parsing. And I'm not going to take the time to write this out. I'm going to do it verbally so that this is manageable for me. So ton, proton, logon, those are all accusative. They're accusative, masculine, singular. Logon is the noun. Proton is a adjective. And then this is the article the. This is accusative because it is the object I myself made the first word or the first book. This is aorist. How do I know it's aorist? Because it has a sigma alpha right there. Sigma alpha tells me this is aorist. This is an augment. This epsilon on the front, the word is actually poieo. Those 4 letters tell me what the word is. And the rest of it is schlock. And then main is a first-person singular ending. Amen, uata. I'll have lots of songs. But anyway, so this is middle. It's a middle ending. So this is aorist, middle, indicative, first-person singular from poieo. I'll talk about intermediate at the end here. So I myself made the first word concerning a preposition, all the things, that's genitive, masculine, plural, from the word for all, pas, it's an adjective, concerning all the things which, all things go with which here, really, even though he's interjected O Theophilus, this is vocative, vocative masculine singular, O is an interjection, and it is what it looks like, O Theophilus. The things which, this is a relative pronoun. The relative pronoun has undergone peer pressure. This is one of the strange things that relative pronouns do. When their antecedent, the word they're referring to, all the things here, is nearby, and it's in the genitive or dative case, then the relative pronoun sometimes says, I want to be like a genitive or a dative. This is a genitive plural, masculine, just like this was a genitive plural masculine. It really should be accusative, because Jesus began to do things. That's the object of that clause. So this really should have been hus, but because of peer pressure, it gave in to the pontone. Erxata, this is arco. The alpha on arco has been lengthened to an eta, as that's what alphas do when they're augmented. There's a hidden sigma alpha in here. A xi is the key to a hidden sigma. So we have a hidden sigma alpha in there. This is a third-person singular middle ending. Amen, u, ata. There you have it. There's the ta. It's a third-person singular middle. So this is parsed as an aorist, middle, indicative, third-person singular from arco. This particular word, arco, means rule in the active, and it means begin in the middle. Don't ask why. You'll go crazy. They'll have to make a padded room for you. This just in the middle means began. Things that began, Jesus, this is the subject, nominative masculine singular. Greek doesn't have to put things in the order they would come in English, because the endings tell me how they're functioning. Which Jesus began. Ein. Ein is a present active infinitive ending. Not always present, but that's your default. So this is a present active infinitive, and this is a present active infinitive. He began both to do and to teach. Okay, so there's a little taste of the parsing. So I'm going to pronounce it. I'm going to give you an initial translation. I'm going to go deeper into some interlinear, and then parsing, and then finally some intermediate things. Intermediates are kind of third and fourth semester Greek types of things. So epoiesamein, I said, was an aorist middle. What kind of a middle? The middle voice is weird. We don't have middle in English. We have active and we have passive. What's this middle? Well, it's somewhere in the middle between active and passive. It seems to imply in this case that the author of Acts, let's call him Luke for the moment, is saying to himself, I myself, it's called an intensive middle, I myself made the first book. So where does the myself comes from? The myself comes from the fact that this is middle. By the way, most of you who will sign up for this higher level subscription are going to be people who've already had Greek and you just want to review yourself. But don't worry, inundation, the repeating drilling over and over and over again will help you. And of course, even if you're willing to be lost for a little while, this is the thing, a lot of people aren't willing to be lost. If you're willing to be lost, you can learn this inductively. And of course, you're welcome to email me for help, and I have videos on the letters, I have videos on a lot of Greek things on YouTube. Okay, and they're free. So erxata, I'm going to call this a lexical middle. What I mean by that is, it just means something different in the middle voice. It means began. Who knew? Ours is not to question why, ours is just to memorize or die. And then finally, there are several relative clauses here in the verse. Own, actually there aren't. There are several relative clauses in the first 5 verses of Acts, but only one relative clause in this one, which is right here, hon. So there's a little taste of what the daily Greek installments are going to be like on the the $3 a month subscription level.